I'll confer you with immunity under Cap 12 of the laws of Zambia, which grants members of parliament immunity against prosecution for what they say while in the House. This means that the information you give to this committee cannot be used against you outside parliament or indeed in any court of law for as long as it is factual. But if you decide to not tell us the truth, the same law will work against you. So PS will continue with our questions. However, we'll go back to page 17. There were questions which were not answered. You know, Friday people were tired. So go back to page 17 on failure to restrict and segregate the duties of the developer. Honorable members will start from there. However, PS on Friday requested for some documentation on the same question. Have you come with those documents?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. If you recall, under Appendix 8, I walked you through the handover agreement. I thought on this particular one, I'd referred you to Appendix 8.
8?
Yes.
Members, let's check Appendix 8. Honorable members, I think that some of the documentations are there on Appendix 8. You can ask questions.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Though I didn't have time to read through this handover agreement, but he would still pose questions. Controlling officer, why is it that the developer of the software has unlimited access to the same? We just want to appreciate the fact that when someone has developed a software, he should have restricted access to the same, so that as government, we completely take over the management of the system for security reasons. I submit.
PS can respond to that question, or you can read direct to the IT director.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Like we tried to indicate, the developer, we've also noted the concerns which the honourable member has raised, because yes, it is a matter of it's a security matter, but however, when you look at ZAMIS, it has been in operation for some time. And that's why we are saying that once we are comfortable with the capacity, we are going to, and we plan to, restrict the developer only to the development area. And I think this was our submission. But I can ask the Director ICT to also add.
Director ICT through the PS can respond to questions.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairperson. Just like PS has said, we have commenced the capacity building exercise because the ministry has no capacity at the moment. So we've been reaching out to the developer to assist us in the backstopping process. This is what has caused it. And we are also concerned about the unlimited access by the developer, and we are commencing on capacity building, i.e. retraining and adding more staff until we take over the operations in the ministry. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Umai.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairperson. PS, as you have noted, that the committee and indeed yourselves, we have this issue of the ZAMIS system, because from the documentation which is here, it will still appear that the system is still under file. This is the software license and handover agreement, I think page 3. GRZ agrees not to use, copy, modify, merge or transfer copies of ZAMIS except as provided for in the license or upon prior written permission of file. So, Madam Chairperson, you know, this system is dealing with the lives of people, including those in, I don't know how you pronounce Chikankata today. It was very deep in Chikankata. Yeah. So, we have so many concerns, PS, as a committee regarding this system. When you go back to 6th December 2018 and 2024, a lot of years have passed. So we thought as a ministry, you were supposed to take interest in ensuring that we put in a system which is going to help the country, which you are in charge as a ministry 100%. Now, when we are talking about this issue of FISIP as a committee, now we understand where the problem is. So, Madam Chairperson, what I want the ministry to tell this committee, where is the problem? Just try to come out so that come next year, we should not discuss this issue again. We want to ensure that as a ministry, we put our house in order by having a system which is owned by the ministry and the Republic of Zambia 100%. So where is the problem? I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable. Before you respond, PS, mine is a lighter on the response by the IT director, where he said it's a challenge of capacity building. Now, director, from 2018, and this is 2024, we are still struggling with the issue of capacity building in the ministry. Is it realistic? PS, you can respond to that question.
Thank you very much. When you look at it from that angle, Honorable Chair, it is not realistic. However, there has been high labor turnover. When you look at from the time this system was deployed, a number of officers were trained, and that time we were collaborating with Smart Zambia, and a number of these officers are no longer in the ministry and are no longer at Smart Zambia. The team we have at the moment, the director joined us in May. Mr. Chinyama, I think, has done, is it one year or so, right? 1 year, and then we have the other junior officers who are on the program to learn, so that immediately we build this capacity, then we move. In terms of the performance of the system, the system is very robust, and like we've admitted, we have indicated that once we are comfortable, the developer will be restricted to the development area and not the production area. So that is our plan, because it is us to change the credentials so that the developer cannot have access to the production area, and that is our plan.
Honorable Kando.
Chair, controlling officer, the excuse that you are giving us that is because of the capacities that you don't have as a ministry, it's very difficult to comprehend and even to accept. Some of these people that you are talking about, or some of these people that you are saying they are highly technical in handling these ZAMIS, they are not even the IT personnel. We have interacted with some of these. So it becomes very difficult, controlling officer, to believe your submission. And
always ask, or I always request that those who submit should stick to their responses. In this response, you have not given us the answer that it's because of capacity that you are still building in some of these. You have just said the access that this Macphalia is enjoying is because of the contract they have between FAO and Macphalia. That's what you have given us here. Now when you say it's because of capacities, again we start wondering, controlling officer, because I don't believe Zambians are that dumb that they cannot understand a simple software or application or of this nature. I don't believe that. I don't. I know that some of the officers who use this are not even IT, but they are able to use it. And I agree when you say it's robust. It's easy to use. But for you to say because of capacity, that's why you have left it in foreign hands, you are breaching quite a lot in terms of the laws of this land on data protection. Who authorizes the use of this data by a foreign agent or a foreigner to have this access? Who is authorizing them to continue having this access to this information? Remember, as we go to page 18 and 19, there is what the auditors had requested from your office to provide. And I think that's based on Data Protection Act number 3 of 2021, which requires some of these people to be approved for them to handle this data. Maybe the director could give us some understanding on how they are managing this data. But otherwise, what you have provided here is actually a clear indication that this person should not have access to this information. That because of the contract they have with FAO, they have this access. But when you now go further and tell us, say, it's out of incapacity, that these people are still continuing, again there we start to wonder. Even when you say because people have moved from your ministry and from Smart Zambia, again we don't accept and believe. Because if anything, we have more people who are more skilled now than before, who have done IT, who have done ICT, more. And they are sitting somewhere, everywhere. Others don't even have jobs. So for this app or for this system to be said is so complicated, and there are people, because of the turnover, again, controlling us, it seems for us is something that is far-fetched. It's not supposed to be the case. Maybe just stick to your submission as it's provided in this. But to say capacity, no.
PS can respond.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Maybe just to clarify, when I talk about capacity, I'm not saying that the country is short of skills. When you talk about ZAMIS, our officers have got access to ZAMIS, and we are using ZAMIS in all the 116 districts of this country with no challenge, or in certain cases minimal challenge. The only area where we go to the consultant is on the development, on the programming, just to put things in context. We don't go to the consultant for the day-to-day running. The day-to-day running, everything is working and working well. Our officers, even in the rural districts, are able to interact with ZAMIS, support our agro dealers, support the farmers, and so far the programs are going on well. The only area we are talking about and where capacity comes in, it is on the development, the software development. Yes, we we can only deal with the officers we have in the ministry, and that's why our officers have gone to school and they've learned, and they're interacting with the developer. And once that process is done, we are going to fully own the development part, or the system development part of the ZAMIS. But I am sorry if I meant, if I sounded as if I said our people and our officers don't have the capacity to run and interact with ZAMIS. It is on the development side, or system development side of ZAMIS. I submit.
Honorable Lumai.
PS, when you read appendix number 8, I'm glad to inform you that the Office of the Solicitor General has advised that the ZAMIS software license and handover agreement between FAO and the government of the Republic of Zambia is satisfactory and may be executed. When you come to page 18, down there from the query, in this regard, although the ZAMIS software had been transferred to the government, it does not own the system. Further, the use of the software for FISIP operations depends on FAO continued authorization, and any challenges in the licensing agreement would adversely affect the implementation of the program. And in your response here, you are saying the committee may wish to note that the system was a donation to the Republic of Zambia from FAO. Indeed, terms of the handover do not give advantage to the government. Now, you as a controlling officer seated in that ministry with learned people around you, yourself also being very learned, with learned people around you, why are we not putting our house in order? We accept that this system was a donation by FAO to the Republic, so we are supposed to own this system 100% despite it being a donation. Were there any maybe restrictions, I don't know how you can put it, between FAO and the government of the Republic of Zambia? Did they say, no, though we have donated this system, we are still in charge? Where do we have a challenge? If you can refer to the query and the document written by Martin G. Mutonga from Smart Zambia. Bearing in mind this was 2018, this is 2024. Why are we not putting the house in order?
Yes.
Thank you very much. And from the onset, let me indicate that the time lapse is regrettable. However, like we've indicated, I think FAO supported government in good faith, and I wouldn't want to blame FAO on our inadequacies. We interact with FAO on a number of programs, and when you find that there is no institutional memory, we go to FAO, like I indicated last week Friday, just to ask on one or two things, because the number of people who were there at the time are not in the ministry. And like we've indicated in the query, in our answer on the correction action, we are working with Smart Zambia to ensure that this process is smoothly concluded, the process of handover, and that is where we are.
Yes, my question would be, if within the Ministry of Agriculture don't have the capacity, why has not Smart Zambia taken over the system and like leaving it to the other people? Since Smart Zambia is Zambian. Yes.
It will be very difficult to answer on behalf of Smart Zambia, but
the director.
Yes, but Smart Zambia has now given us a director in the ministry and upgraded the position in the ministry, because now ICT is a department headed by a director from Smart Zambia. So we are in the process, Madam Chairperson.
Okay. Honorable Mfalari.
Chair, my question I think has not been answered. I asked, say, who is giving authority to this foreign entity to have access to this information? Has there been any authorization to give them access to this data?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. The interaction with Macphilisa is on the software development, but we work with Smart Zambia on that issue. Like I've indicated, it's on this software development. That is where they come in.
And further questions, honorable members? We progress.
Chair, if it's on the development side, why are you saying that? Why is this Macphalia having access to this information if it's just on the development side? They have access to the back end, isn't it? That's what you told us. Unlimited access. So why? Who is granting them this access? I think you are a controlling officer. Your director ICT should be covenant with the laws governing data management and protection in this country. Who is giving access to these guys? These Macphalia people or company is having access easily to the data on ZAMIS. So who is giving them access to have this?
Thank you, honorable member. Maybe PS would allow the IT director to help us, since that's your area of interest. Director, can you help us on that question?
Yes, currently the ministry has a contract, a backstopping contract to support the ministry in the management of back end. And this contract has been on from 2018. Like the PS said, we are in the process of changing that contract to restrict them to only the development environment. Once we have sufficient capacity in the ministry to take care of the back end management, I submit it.
Honorable member.
Sure. So this contract you have a copy of this contract running, that was the government had with Macphalia to have access to the back end. Is that contract there, or is it sitting in one of these appendices?
Is a contract with us here?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. We have a contract with Macphilisa. On the services we are asked them to develop for us, and unfortunately it's not one of the contracts which is there. Like if you remember last week I was indicating that we have linked the system to the 3 mobile network operators. That is one of the issues which we have put in the contract we have with them. It was on the development part of it, but we have a contract with them directly.
Okay, Honorable Mfarad.
Chair, we move on to page 19. There was failure to provide information to the auditors, and last Friday the ministry told us that this information is now available. Is it available with us here for the Auditor General to have a look at?
Do we have the information, PS?
Like we said, yes, this information has been compiled, but maybe it was our understanding. If you remember, Honorable Chair, we had stopped on page 20, so but this information is available for verification, and we stand ready to we will give it to the auditors, but right now I don't have it.
Because it was a request, we said all the documents that we are requesting come with them on Monday. That is what I indicated. So meaning you are not ready with the documentation. However, we don't read documents which are not verified by the Auditor General. You need to give the Auditor General to verify those documents. Then they can pass them to our office of the clerk.
Sorry for that. We'll definitely do that, Madam Chairperson.
Honorable members, they didn't come with the documents.
So in short, Chair, it means the documents are not there, because what happens when the documents have not been given to the auditors, when the auditors were visiting your ministry, you bring them here, then you surrender them to the Auditor General. But failure to provide that shows again that the ministry is not taking audit serious. And I think our request to the ministries, could you just take audit queries seriously? Because some of these matters, even when you're talking about ZAMIS, this and that this is what we are doing, if you were able to provide this information, I don't think the Auditor General would have put it in this. And I don't think we would have been talking about these issues here. But because those who are responsible, I don't know why ICT failed to provide this information. Where were they? Why were they failing to provide this information to the Auditor General? Chair, we don't want a laissez-faire kind of attitude from any department under this ministry. We cannot continue like this.
Okay.
People should be serious. We can't.
IT director through the PS, why didn't you produce the documents when the auditors came to the ministry? What was the challenge? Director IT.
Probably the filing systems, but like PS has submitted, the documents are there and you are ready to.
But you know, IT, your responses have been following them since last week. You are on the defensive side. You are only saying filing system. You need to give us responses. Why didn't you give the auditors the documents when they came? Because as we are not auditors, and like Honorable Ferrari said, if you had given the auditors, this query was not going to come here. Some of these queries are not supposed to come to Public Accounts Committee. You can end them at the ministry. But because you have this laissez-faire type of not paying attention to auditors when they come to the ministry, and we start struggling here. So we need those documents within this week. They have to be submitted to the auditors too, through our office.
We apologize
so,
for
officers,
that.
let's pay attention to auditors when they come to your ministry. These are government resources, taxpayers' money, that which you also pay. So when auditors come to your office, pay attention, give them the documentation so that we don't have audit queries. It's not fair for a ministry to come to PAC every year. We want to have at least 0 queries one day in this country. That's when you say that we are working as a government. So, honorable members, let's progress. So last week we ended at payroll issues, introduction to payroll on unauthorized positions, Kasama Pako. We have Northern Province Pako.
Yes, Madam Chairperson.
So Northwestern.
Northern.
You can sit here so that we start asking questions.
Pako Kasama, you can come and take this seat.
Members can ask questions on payroll for Kasama. Honorable Lumai.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson, I want the Northern Province PACO to help the committee understand. We have read the response on this query. I want him to clarify why this matter was not resolved during audit.
PS or PACO through the PS.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I'll ask the PACO maybe to answer.
PACO can respond to the question.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Like we have given the response, the officers that have been cited were not on our payroll, and we had to engage the other departments in the province to find out where they were actually sitting. So I think it is that process that took a lot of time, and we could not avail the pay slips at that time. As we have reported now, we've been able to locate these officers, and most of them, they belong to the Ministry of Green Economy. I submit, Chairperson.
Honorable Mai.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson, as you have taken note, this query is regarding 4 officers. And I don't know how many days the province was given to respond to this query, because what is coming out, it was the issue of finding the pay slips. I don't know the documentation regarding these people, because user departments were supposed to provide this information during the time of audit. So we want to understand where the missing link was, because this should have been clarified there and then when auditors were in the province. I submit to Madam Chairperson.
Honorable Mukumbi.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, sadly, Paco is saying, Paco? Paco Daco.
Paco.
Yeah, Paco, you are saying that you didn't know the whereabouts of these officers. Not until you realized they were sitting at the Ministry of SME. One wonders, who was supervising these officers before they were taken to another ministry? Why am I asking this? If a person absconds from work for 10 days, is somebody dismissed? If a person is not reporting for work, they will be picked during your staff returns, whether quarterly or monthly. I don't know how many times you do them. Now, to just come and say we didn't know where they were, only to find that they were in the other ministry. Who actually was supervising these officers? Because if they had the supervisor, they were going to pick it as soon as these officers were transferred. Or did they provide also transfer letters to another ministry? Chair, submit.
Yes, you can respond to the 2 questions or redirect them.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Partly why it took time, like we've answered, 3 of the 4 officers were not on our payroll, and that's why it took a bit of time to locate them. But however, after the auditors left, we have located them, and the other officer is the one who we discovered that had been transferred to the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprise. But that doesn't mean that I do agree that these are matters which we should resolve immediately the auditors come to our stations. This is not a matter which should have taken or escalated up to this level. I submit.
Honorable Mai, still have a question? We can go to irregular payment of salaries, deserters, and also that's Lusaka headquarters, Copper Belt, Luansha, then excess recruitment of officers without authority. You can marry the 2 questions. Honorable Mpalari.
Yeah, I think the question from Honorable Mukumbi was, the staff returns, do they take place? Because we sat here, controlling officer, by then I think you were sitting somewhere else. This ministry came here, and there was a payroll audit that was carried on, and some of your ministry was part of the ministry that came here. Now, is the Paco telling us that he had no clue whatsoever of this stuff that was sitting at his, at one time sitting at his ministry? Because when you start telling us that the other officer was a member of staff at the Ministry of Agriculture and transferred to Ministry of Small and Medium, so all this information was not there at the time of audit. And we must come here and start looking at it, even without evidence to show. With some of these responses they don't even have evidence to show what they are alleging. So what was so difficult? No returns, no monthly quarterly returns or annual returns. People were just not aware of what was going on. Yeah, I think the ministry should be serious. This Ministry of Agriculture should be serious, especially heads of departments. They should be serious. Can they tell us what really transpired here? Because we can't continue looking at some of these things that could have been resolved at a provincial office. We must come and sit here. No.
Honorable Mukumbi.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, in addition, PS, how often do you do your staff returns in the ministry? Do you have officers
who are actually engaged in doing those such details. Because if you had officers that were serious, some of these queries are here. It has to do with staff return. You'll be able to pinpoint where an officer is who is not reporting absenteeism. Chair, sure, we can be discussing absenteeism here. We should be discussing a deserter. We should be surely all the way from my conscience to come and discuss this. Come on.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. And like we've indicated, these are not things we should be bringing us here. But maybe let me ask my Director HR to just talk about staff returns. How often we do them?
Director HR.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. We do staff returns on a monthly basis, Chairperson.
But if you do it monthly basis, can you have such a query? Director, Human Resource.
Like my PS said, I think sometimes it's just lack of seriousness when we are doing our jobs. But they do it, we're supposed to be doing it every month.
Honorable Mukombe.
Very good response from the Director. A lack of seriousness. This now goes back to the controlling officer. You heard for yourself. She has confirmed that there is no seriousness in your ministry. What are you doing about it as controlling officer? People are not serious. We have just been told. What are you doing about it as controlling officer?
PS.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Yes, we realize that some of these issues should not reach even this far, and we've been reorganizing the ministry, including the provincial heads. For example, we have moved PACOs. PACO Northern is only, is it a month or two? 2 months, in an effort to make sure that we bring seriousness, because it's very embarrassing to answer a question like this from Mukumbi, because absenteeism surely will reach this level. So we hope that with the changes we are making, these are some of the things we should not reoccur.
So you said PACO Kasama is 2 months. Where was the PACO? Where is the PACO who was there?
He has come to headquarters.
So you've transferred the program.
We have not promoted him.
Honorable Mfarari.
I agree with you when you say you have, I don't know whether it's what is, if you remember the PACO Northern, if you look at the verbatim how when he came last time, we told the controlling officer then that this is not serious. He was not serious. Now you have brought him to the headquarters to come and do what? Because, Chair, we have challenges. Controlling officer, I think we have these challenges. Some of these things really should not come up to this stage level. We can't. Much as you are saying the provinces you have reshuffled, but even on your directors, if your director like ICT here was telling us that he doesn't even know the administrators on the system, he failed to provide that information. Even directors should be serious. Because even when you say these provincial headquarters, I think even in your directors, let's push this thing and let's see transformation there. Let's see change.
PS, because like you are saying that he was transferred to headquarters. My understanding is that at PACO level, someone is in charge of a province, and then if you bring someone to headquarters, that's director in position, they are in charge of the whole country. If I failed at provincial level, am I going to be effective at the country level? It's not. Meaning now the country is suffering. We've now created a bigger problem than it was at provincial level. Yes, you can respond to questions.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Maybe let me correct my statement. The PACO who was there retired. The one who has come to Lusaka was the one who was active, and has come in his substantive position. But
he was not involved in these queries. He was not part of the activities of these queries. The one you brought to
the one who transferred. I'm sure he was involved in one or another. But my internal auditor would want also to say something on that.
The internal auditor can respond to those questions.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I must say that it's regrettable that such queries can be arising, but as a matter of urgency arising from these queries, the ministry has not just sat akimbo. We have come, I think that through the office of the Permanent Secretary, my office has been directed that we go flat out on these matters arise, especially to do with payroll. And currently, Madam Chairperson, I can confirm to you that we are massaging and correcting these situations as they are unfolding, doing head counts, and making sure that these things do not reoccur and be a part of the ministry. I submit.
Okay, we'll see the responses next year. Next year will tell us a story. Honorable Mwira.
Thank you, Chairperson. On the page 22, on payment of salaries to deserters, the response for Lusaka HQ seems to be disputing the audit finding, because the table there says for Lusaka HQ, this officer was absent for 22 months, but then the response is saying the officer was absent in the month of September and the salary was blocked in October. So that basically is just a month. But what has been reported in the finding is 22 months. So I need clarification relating to this deserter for Lusaka. And then for Copper Belt, I think as we have discussed, the lack of seriousness, because the cause of paying this deserter is basically due to late reporting of the matter. So it just goes back to staff returns and seriousness, because this person had disappeared and no one cared to report that this person is not there. And your corrective action is just to give a verbal caution to the officer responsible. How are we addressing this laissez-faire attitude in the officers if we just end up at verbally cautioning someone who could not bother to report that there is an officer who has deserted? That's for the Copper Belt.
Thank you, Honorable. Maybe the first question, the AG can help us, where the response is something else, but in the table there's more months.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Of course, this is through the audit process, so I think this query will raise the management later, the query. So according to us, we noted that it was 22 months when the officer was actually absent. We have given the client the same information that was, of course, giving evidence that the officer was away for 22 months. I don't know where this dispute is coming from. Thank you, Chairperson.
So maybe Director Human Resource through the PS can respond, because this was headquarters.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. If you notice in our response, we are not saying that he was absent from September. We said he was charged in September. So their observation is correct. He was absent for 22 months, but he was only charged in September.
So why they delay 22 months? You charge someone in September. 22 months, the same as almost 2 years, eh? 2 years. What was the cause of the delay? Director of Human Resource.
The officer who was responsible, who was supervising the officer, did not report this absenteeism. So by the time it was coming to our attention that was absent for all those months, this is when we charged the officer.
Who was the supervisor? Because 22 months is too much. Someone is getting government resources for free. Director Human Resource.
Madam Chairperson, let me take responsibility because this officer falls under my charge.
Okay. Honorable Mkombi.
Chair, the ministry has admitted that they don't take certain matters very seriously. So if you look at page 20, from page 20 to about 40, page 40, all these are staff-related matters. Chikankata, Kavwe, similar things. I don't see any different response from themselves.
because it has to do with taking serious or not of staff retains, which they don't do. If a person is absent for 22 days to 22 months, and you have your monthly staff retains with you, you'll be able to pick the first month to say, this person is not there. They've just acknowledged that there is no seriousness. So I'm not seeing any different response, Chair, from that page to about 40. I don't know what your guidance would be, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable. The sad part is that the response for not being serious, it came from the Director Human Resource, and then we are discussing the issue of 22 months, and this person was under your supervision. So, PS, what measures are you putting in place to avoid such occurrences? Because it's now sitting at headquarters, such issues, away from the provinces.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Just like we've indicated through our internal audit, we have now put in place interventions to make sure that some of these issues are identified in earnest and remedial action taken. I can give you comfort that we now have a team looking at these matters seriously. Like I've indicated, it's very embarrassing to appear before your committee on these matters which we should have resolved. Even the auditors should not have picked them, because we would have resolved them anyway. But I can give you our commitment that we have now got a team in place looking at these matters going forward.
But the challenge we have as a committee, PS, is that we've received such responses from even maybe 2022, where people were saying it was legacy issues. But this one is not a legacy issue. We have people sitting in the ministry supervising, and people can go away for 22 months. Come next year, maybe we'll have a different PS. Again, they will say, no, we are working. So it means that we'll never change as a country. Resources will just be wasted. Because there must be system. Even if you leave today, whoever comes should take over. And the most important people in the ministry are directors, because they are in charge of these departments. They have to be consistent. But what is coming out is that our directors are not doing their work. You as PS, you will be in this ministry, you will be the other ministry, but the director will be there. Things will be the same. So I think we have to take things serious, and we have to change for the betterment of the Zambians. And this ministry is a very sensitive ministry. Today, I received a call from Chikankata. A lot of complaints. You've made members of parliament to be now DACOs, responding to your work. We are suffering, like this period of the year. We have queries from all of us members of parliament. Why? It's because your officers are not working. So, honorable members, we move forward. Like Honorable Mukumbi said, most of the issues are to do with payroll. To page, let's go to page 39. Honorable Farad.
With these queries that could have been sorted out at the provincial or district level, at the departmental level, controlling officer, do you have any challenges with some of your staff getting orders or making sure that they respond to issues adequately and quickly? Because this indication is not good, of people trying to not to respond queries. It's a clear indication of indiscipline.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Indeed, it is embarrassing. Secondly, these are straightforward queries which ordinarily we need to provide answers. With the system we are putting in place with HR and also internal audit, I think going forward we won't be having these problems. So I can assure your committee that we coming here, Madam Chairperson, is not a pleasant thing, if I were to be honest. So I wouldn't say we want to come and appear before your committee. But these are lessons we are learning and we've learned. And that's why we are putting in place measures to make sure that these things are addressed immediately the auditors come to our places.
Honorable Mfalad.
While we appreciate that we need now to jump, the PACO for Northern Province took a seat there. Where is Lusaka PACO? Now, we want to see them. Because these are the people who have failed to respond. Lusaka PACO, Copper Belt PACO, Southern PACO, Northwestern PACO. These are the people that are not responding when they are given a query. Western, where are they?
So maybe Lusaka, Copper Belt, and Western, we can come. Copper Belt? Copper Belt Parkway?
Sorry, Madam Chairperson. Copper Belt PACO was with us on Friday. Unfortunately, the mother collapsed the same Friday, so she's in Cow. She rushed to Cow. But the other PACOs are here with me.
So Copper Belt was an issue of 15 months absentee. Honorable Mfarad.
Could the Copper Belt one is not here? Who is there? Lusaka PACO. Why are you failing to respond to issues on time? Because you don't want to go every whatever, but you are here because of things that you could have responded to Auditor General's office. Why did you fail to answer to these queries?
Honorable Mukumbi.
Chair, in addition, the PACO seated behind us here are there to assist the controlling officer. You are the eyes of the PS. The PS is here in Lusaka and you are in various provinces. Why are you not assisting the PS in resolving some of these queries that are before your offices? Do you have fuel problems or transport, or you don't have staff that are qualified to do staff returns and analyze them, or you don't have internal auditors? Maybe give us reasons why you are not assisting the PS. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. As the Lusaka province, I want to state that indeed we regret, but this arose as a result of the person who was in charge of administration. I think she was preparing to retire, and she retired in August. At a time when our auditors visited us, I think herself was busy in retiring, so she could not do a good job. Like I've indicated, we regret. I think when we received the new officer, a number of issues I think we resolved with auditors. Only those issues that unfortunately we couldn't get data from the districts remained outstanding. But however, we have resolved those issues and the details are there for verification. I submit, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you.
Honorable members. Where is Southern Province? Southern Province, through the PS, who can respond to the question.
Honorable Chair, in terms of failing to respond to queries, we are responding to queries, but I may not, the specific query is the one probably because we don't have a Southern Province on deserters. So for me, it would be difficult to respond on the visitors.
Your question is on irregular payment of rural hardship allowance. Choma, 3. The officers.
Thank you.
Paco, can you switch off your mic?
Paco, Southern Province, you are here because you have failed to answer to queries that were brought to you by the Auditor General. So when you say you don't have anything, then why are you here if you don't have anything? You are here because you failed to respond adequately and on time. And you come here, and the same questions that we have asked your fellow Pacos are the same questions we are asking you. Why, on any query that you were given, why have you failed to respond adequately and on time? And you must come here and start telling us that we don't have whatever. No. You are here because you failed to answer. And we don't want to go item by item because it's consuming, it's time consuming. We are asking you, you are here. You are some of the Pacos that have been cited.
Thank you, Chair. I didn't mean that we don't have queries because I was looking at the item that was under discussion, which was payment of salaries to deserters. However, I want to mention that for Southern, on the irregular payment of rural hardship, as indicated in the query, 3 officers that have been cited, one of them is in Ntambo camp, which is 5 kilometers away from Monze. So this officer is actually entitled to rural hardship. I think if we can refer to Circular B2 of 2010, the officer is, I think this is there in Appendix 19. This officer is entitled to rural hardship allowance, which is correctly paid. Then the other 2 officers, we again attached the pay slips for the officers. These officers actually, now money is going to these officers because the rural hardship is being recovered through the contra entry. So on this rural hardship, I think that's the position, the current position. The one officer qualifies for rural hardship because is 35 kilometers away from the other 2 officers. They are not drawing the rural hardship because it's being recovered through contract. Chair.
Chair, let me remind the PS. The PACO. PACO 1 on excess recruitment of officers. Okay? I hope you are following. That has to do with Choma. You have irregular payments of rural hardship allowance. That's why you are here. Again, you are cited on
misplacement of payroll area.
Yes, sort of payroll areas. That is Southern Province. Your deceased people still on the payroll. You are appearing there. Then you have Chikankata, a small matter that you could have just resolved there. Failure to maintain a general revenue cash book at Chikankata. I guess Chikankata is in Southern Province. So you have some issues here. And that's why we are asking. We want to combine all these because they are all payroll related. Tell this committee why you are failing to manage your officers. And why you are not assisting the PS in the ministry. Because you are the eyes of the PS.
in the provinces? I think that's the question. You are cited on a number of issues here. So tell us why.
PS, you have a response?
Maybe allow me to guide my backwards. I think we've been given up to page 39. So when you are given the floor to answer, speak to all the matters up to page 39 so that we save time. I think that's what we were guided by the committee.
So Paco, respond to the queries.
Thank you, Chair. Let me then start with, thank you so much for the guidance. Let me start with the excess recruitment of officers without authority. As indicated in the response, the queried officer is actually the queried officer is the position is part of the positions that were granted by Treasury Authority. It's only that at the time of the audit, the positions in the Treasury authorities had not been updated in the staff establishment. Otherwise, this position was part of the positions that were approved by Treasury, given Treasury authority. Then
Honorable Falar.
Paco Southern Province. In your response, you have just indicated that there was actually an approval, and you knew it, that there was an approval. The auditors came to your province, you failed to provide that approval, or you failed to indicate that there was actually an approval. On issues like paying remote hardship allowance, you failed to tell them that this officer is sitting 35 kilometers from where you are. Why were you failing? The question is, why were you failing to provide these answers at the right time than for you to come here and start telling us there was even an approval, but you failed to provide? Chair, maybe we move to the next province. There's nothing we are getting there.
Do we have copper belt? We don't have. Eastern Province?
Yes, Eastern we have.
You can see where Southern Province is. So, PS, your PACOs are not helping your office. Like we said, that these queries are small queries that can be handled at audit. Paco Eastern Province, I think you know your queries. Can you respond to those queries? Queries under Bubi, where they use interest to purchase materials. We also have Lundazi, casualization of employees. Yes, Lundazi. For Lundazi at FTC, as you are aware, in Lundazi, the FTC do not have the establishment. After most of our officers, the casual workers, were retired. So when employing, we usually engage casual workers to help us with the activities under the FTCs. We regret that we did employ the casuals over 6 months, which is not supposed to be. In future, we've applied that the FTCs are given the establishment with the casual workers. Now, what type of management do we have where it's always excuses? Everyone is just giving us excuses than responses why a query came. You are saying you always promise for the future. As we are discussing the current issues, why having such challenges? Thank you, Chairperson. I think some are beyond us for establishment. If there is no establishment and work has to be done, It's beyond us. We write to HQ. HQ has to write also to the authorities that be for authority. Thank you. But the position of the committee is that if you responded well during the audit time, the question was not going to come here. It was going to be sorted out at the audit stage. But you don't give proper information to the auditors. This is why they come here. That's the concern we have as a committee. It's not beyond you to give the auditors the correct information, because you are the users. So when they come, the auditors, you are supposed to give them the correct information. Madam Honorable.
The Chair, Paco, are you telling us that you have no access to the PS or to the directors above you? For you to come and start telling us that no, it's above us. When you say it's above you, it means you have failed to communicate with your authority, the people that are above you. When a query came, you could have rehearsed with the Director of Human Resource or any other director in charge of a particular query. Why did you fail to do that? That's a question we're asking you, because some of these, we don't want to see you come back with a query like this one. You are coming back here and telling us, no, this, that. Those are stories. Can you be very, very clear why you failed to provide the answers to the auditors at the time of audit?
Paco, Eastern Province. Because we also have a question on failure to deduct pay as you earn. Achupata. The information was provided to auditors, Madam Chairperson. And failure to deduct pay as you earn, I think pay as you earn is calculated by the system at PayMic. So most of those officers who appeared to say we did not deduct pay as you earn are those officers who were employed midway of the month. So their salary could not meet that criteria that the pay as you earn can be deducted by the system. AG, can you guide us on this response?
Thank you so much. Maybe this, Chair, would be a question of maybe following up with what they will have provided, so that maybe this matter can be verified, and then accordingly report back, give a status as submit, Chair.
Paco for Central Province. We have Paco Central Province.
Yes, Madam Chairperson.
It's behind me. Can swap. Just leave it. Central Province, you have also issues to do with failure to deduct pay as you earn.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just wish to say that I take full responsibility of my queries that are in the report, and I regret that some information was not availed, maybe at the point of audit. Madam Chairperson, I have no better excuse to give, but just to say that I've learned some lessons and will do better next time.
When have you been how long have you been a Paco for you to learn lessons today?
10 months.
10 months?
Yes.
Okay. Honorable members, Honorable Mwira.
For Central Province, I'm particularly interested in this case where someone reached his retirement age, 60 years, and no one bothered to tell them that you have now retired. They continued working. And the excuse is that there was a delay in initiating the retirement process. Surely, how is the HR being managed that now someone who There's a process to retirement. But if someone has reached retirement age and they keep coming for work and no one is noticing that this person should now retire, it's very difficult to understand that. You know, this is government. We are talking about government. Not like it's a garden boy or it's government with proper rules, instructions, everything. System can even tell you that, okay, this one is 1 year to retire. Indicate whether you want to go up to 65, 12 months before. I don't know, Chairperson, if you can even entertain the excuse of regretting on such important issues. We have a lot of people who are looking for employment in this country. And here is a 60-year-old, retired. Meanwhile, the youth are waiting for that vacancy to occur so that people can move up the ranks. I fail to understand, Chair.
You know,
Secondly, Chairperson, just to talk about casualization, because I have read the response, it seems that this is a problem across the country for all the farm training institutes, because the response gives the history and how most of the people in the FTCs were laid off. But now we are talking about mechanization 360, bringing back to life the FTCs and everything else. But I've not seen any evidence of correspondence between the ministry and the management division, because here it's being mentioned that the ministry has written to the management division so that they can see how they can create establishments in these FTCs. But there's no evidence on record. 3 provinces have been cited, but based on the response, it appears all FTCs across the country are in a similar situation where they need to be revived, people need to be there, but there's no establishment. So this casualization is across the country. So the evidence of correspondence between the ministry and the management division so that this issue can be addressed.
PS, correspond the 2 questions.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. The biggest problem we have is the structure, like we've indicated in our responses. But I need to quickly indicate that Cabinet Office through MDD, they've been forthcoming, and we've been discussing, and the draft structure is a very big document. The proposed structure is a very big document, and in terms of discussions, we are almost concluded. We are just waiting for the Treasury Authority. However, what we have not submitted is the proposed structure. Some evidence to show correspondence between our ministry and MDD on the same issue.
Honorable Mwira, you have a follow-up question? Okay. PS, I've seen a lot of queries on from Southern Province and Chikankata, like this Mapangaha FTC. I have an idea of the workmanship there. There are few people. There are less than 20. That includes the people at the DACO's office and the camp officers across the district. There are less than 20. For sure, the DACO can fail to manage the less than 20 people to give the correct information. So it comes back to the Director Human Resource who said there's no seriousness. So, Madam, you have to come up with a strategy under your office. We have a challenge across the country with your office. Because if the Director Human Resources is there's no seriousness, then the whole system is corrupt. So, honorable members, we can go to page 39, lack of weak. Wapula.
Yes.
So there's Wapula in the Western
You
Province.
should not miss the dragons.
Wapula and Western. The problem with the people in the province and districts, they like spending their time in workshops. They are not in the offices. They are busy in the workshops. Wapula. Through the PS, we can respond to your queries.
For Wapula, I think in terms of submission of information to the Auditor General, I think we had a situation, especially on the payroll, where we didn't have authorization to make certain changes. But when we wrote for authority, the HR were given authorization, and we've since started changing the sub area, meaning on the pay slip. For instance, someone would be in Mansa but working in Kawambwa. So we've been correcting that scenario from the time we were given authorization on the payroll.
Honorable Mfalaki.
Paco Lwapula, you are saying, when did you act on these 222 misplacement of payroll areas? Did you have to act when the auditors came in, or you acted well before? If you acted well before, why didn't you provide the information?
Paco Lwapula can respond through the PS.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. We apparently, for us to change the information on the payroll, it was beyond the authorization at the province. So when the auditors raised this query, that's when we wrote to the director Penny to authorize us, because the only person who could move into the payroll was at HQ. And because of so many cases, it was difficult for the Penny director to deal with our case until we wrote for authorization, and authorization was granted. So we started working on the large number of people who are misplaced on the payroll. So as I speak, I think we have done almost 174. We have put them in the right payroll area. We are just remaining with a balance, which I'm sure we'll deal with before the end of the year.
No.
So, Paco, you were sitting with all these misplacements for all the, I don't know for how long, God knows. Until when the auditors came into your office and told you that you have so many misplaced officers. That's when you started writing, but even you failed to do it in time, or you failed to provide the answers on time, so that all this could have not come here. You waited up to the time when the whole report was ready. You are now going to pack. That's when you now start writing. No, we have this situation here. Why did you have to wait for this long for you to come here? And is that a fair way of doing things?
Paco Kasama Lwapula.
Madam Chairperson, let me take this opportunity to regret that we didn't respond on time, but going forward, these are issues I think we need to take keen interest into, so that they don't come before this committee.
Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Paco Lwapula. Since you regret for having failed to do the right thing, the committee would want to find out what mechanisms you have put in place to ensure that there's no, you don't come back again with the same audit queries. Because I think we, Honorable Chairperson, we dealt with these payroll related matters in detail. I think the year before, is it last year? And we expected, in fact, the Pacos were called again. We expected this to have reduced, but you are still coming, you are still daring the committee with the same audit queries. So we want to find out what is it that you have put in place to ensure that, Paco, we don't see you again on similar audit queries. I submit.
Paco can respond.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. As I said, on these issues, especially dealing with human resource related issues, I think we do regularly, like on the staff audit, we do it every month, and on this particular issue, I think it is more or less like historical, because those officers who are hiring new officers, they were just putting Mansa, and then they camp, if it's in Kawambwa, they would reflect Kawambwa. But going forward, I think this one now, all the newly recruited officers are being hired according to the payroll area which they are supposed to go to. So this will not happen.
Honorable members, we move to weaknesses in the management of revenue, lack of safe facilities. May I have Mchinga Pako and Southern Province Pako to sit in front? So Rapula can go back. My members on the safes.
Let the Paco Muchinga tell us why he failed to respond to such a query.
Muchinga Paco, where is he?
I'm here.
Or respond to the query, sir.
We actually got into this building. My name is Vika Muropa. We got into this building which was built by Provincial administration, and it has no provision for the safe. We actually even indicated to HQ that we don't have a safe, and even a letter is even put there. And as you might be aware, safes are centrally procured, and it's a bit difficult for us to actually procure a safe from our point as a province. I submit.
Maybe, Chair, the question, did you make any attempts to secure a safe from Minister of Finance? And the second one is, how have you been keeping the resources? Just in your cabinet, or maybe you have been banking, whatever comes in your possession, like in important documents as well. How do you keep them in your province?
To begin with, well, as I mentioned that we got in touch with our HQ, making a request that they help us to have the safe procured with means of finance. For the storage of the documents, of course, we actually don't have the provision for drawing cash and keeping it in the safe. But for the important documents like confidential files, we have cabinets that are actually lockable, and those are the ones that we are actually using.
Honorable Dak.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Mchinga, you are claiming that you made an effort to inform Minister of Finance with regards to the procurement of the same safes. As a committee, we don't speculate, we rely on facts. Can you provide evidence to that fact that you made an effort by laying that same evidence on the table or before this committee, so as the committee to appreciate that indeed you made an effort? Madam Chairperson, I submit.
Paco Muchinga, do you have the evidence of the communication?
The evidence is there. We will submit it to our desk officer who was handling the audit queries.
It's under which appendix? If it was submitted to the auditors. Honorable Muira.
I have a copy here.
Paco, switch off the mic. Honorable Muira.
Yes, Chair. I think I've seen on Appendix 34, there's a letter which was written to the Accountant General in 2022. specifying the request for safes in various stations. So maybe Accountant General also, because there's no other document to show feedback that it could have come, if it ever came, from the Accountant General. But I do remember thinking that even last year we had this issue to do with lack of safes in some stations, and it was even before the letter. So from 2022, Accountant General was informed. Maybe we need to hear what the issue is. We may be faulting the wrong people. They've done their part. So, Accountant General, you were elected in 2022. People need safes. What is the issue?
Accountant General.
Thank you, Honorable, for the question. I think the process started this year, and I think the procurement process has completed. We should be able to procure safes before the end of the year. For those who requested for the safes, I hope Muchinga did request through the Accountant General. I submit, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Allow me to ask my Acting Director of Finance to also speak to the issue of safes.
Director of Finance.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just want to maybe give a general response, because I've seen that it's more than one that is appearing. Indeed, the safes and other accounting documents for all ministries are procured centrally by Treasury, and we do write to Minister of Finance to request when we also receive requests from the provinces. I can attest here that most of the provinces indeed have written to the ministry headquarters, and we also did write to Minister of Finance to request on all those that had requested through headquarters. But up to now, I think we haven't received a response from Minister of Finance. It's gratifying to hear from the Office of the Accountant General that indeed the procurement process has ended. We are looking forward, Chairperson, to receive the safes soon. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you. Paco Southern Province, a lot of questions for you.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Members can ask him questions. That's on failure to maintain a general revenue cash book. Chikankata Dako. Honorable Dako.
Where's the Dako?
The Dako is not here. There's Paco. Where's your Dako, Paco? Mike, Honorable.
Madam Chair, the DACO is not here. I'm the one who is representing the DACO. Thank you.
He will respond to the Paco.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Paco, I'm sure you are very conversant of the Public Finance Management Act and the other guidelines on how you do public finance management. What is it that was a problem with your DACO in Chikankata to fail to manage the general receipt cash book? We want to find out, does it mean that you're not he wasn't conversant? Or maybe I direct it to you. Does it mean that you are not conversant to provide or to manage public finances with regards or in line with the guidelines that have been stipulated and other laws of our nation? The committee would want to appreciate really indeed that how can you fail to maintain a general revenue cash book when it's just a very basic accounting document? I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Paco can respond to those questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I ask that you allow me to comment that this is not DACO's office, but the FTC, where there was no cash book, which was the revenue cash book, which was maintained. And as indicated in our response, Mapangazi FTC has actually no accountant, and I think this issue of staffing has been discussed. Unfortunately, the FTC has no accountant, so because of that, and after the audit came, then we requested the district accountant from Mazabuka to help in handling this matter, and this has actually been done. The FTC now has a general revenue cash book maintained. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Mwira.
Thank you, Chair. The corrective action that has been talked about of assigning the district accountant has only been done after the audit query. This general revenue cash book is one of the very important documents at any public institution that must be maintained. And to wait for the audit, then you start making corrective measures. Why did it have to take the auditors to point out this shortcoming? Because you could have, if you are really in charge of supervising these places, even before the auditor should have noticed that there is no general revenue cash book being maintained at this place, and human resource being a problem, the accountant at the district, the same corrective action could have been done before the auditors went on site. Why did it have to take the auditors to point out, then you do the correct thing? Let's submit, Chair.
Paco.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. The only thing I can say here, Madam Chairperson, is to say it's unfortunate that we had to wait this long. It's actually a point taken. We shouldn't have waited this long, but I can only apologize for waiting this long to make these corrections. I submit, Madam Chair.
Honorable Falai.
Paco, Southern Province, how often do you have reports from your districts? How often do you visit your districts? You seem to be talking like someone who is not sure of what he's doing, or what he's talking about. Why do you have to wait to come here, to come and start telling us all these things, when you could have done it as a manager for the province? I guess you are aware that you are in charge of the province, and the management and everything of the province falls right on your shoulders. Why do you have to come and start waiting for auditors to come through to your province for you to start putting things in place? Are you telling us that you are not aware that there was no cash book at this institution?
And Paco, who manages the FTC? Because you said it's not under the office of the DACO. And in his submission, he said it's not under the office of the DACO. Paco.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. The FTC is managed by the officer in charge, and from the officer in charge, this officer in charge reports to the SAO, who in turn reports to the DACO.
Who's the officer in charge?
At the FTC, there is a...
It's called officer in charge. They don't have a position.
That's the position.
Just called officer in charge?
Yes.
Okay.
So
do we have at Kankata? Mapangaha FTC, do we have an officer in charge there?
Yes, Madam Chair, there is one who is the officer in charge there. Thank you.
Honorable Farad.
Paco, that does not excuse you from being in charge of this institution. What you are telling us is a hierarchy. The question we are asking you is, why did it take long? We are not interested in officer in charge reporting to SAO, SAO reporting. No. We are interested in you managing the province adequately and efficiently and effectively. So, why do you have to small things like this? You come here, you come and sit with us here telling us no sao, what no dako. Eh? Why?
Honorable
It's not fair.
Lumai.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Paco, on the same query, consequently the completeness of revenue collected in amounts totaling 443 could not be validated. And in your response here, you are saying the general revenue cash book has since been updated and is available for verification. So I just want you to help this committee understand how you have managed to update now when you did not update before, looking at the period when auditors visited this area. So how has this money been updated in this cash book?
Paco can respond the two questions.
Paco, how long have you been Paco for Southern Province?
It's 3 months now, 4 months.
You are coming from where?
From Gwembe. I was Dako Gwembe.
Dako Gwembe. Where is the who was the okay. Oh. Dako Kankata again is retired, so we don't have a Dako at the moment. He was retired, I think, 3 weeks ago. So let's go to page 41, procurement of goods and services. This is under the ministry, contract management on procurement of motorcycles. Honorable Lumai.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairperson. PS, the queries on the contract management on procurement of motorbikes. In your response here, you are saying the committee may wish to note that at the time of payment, Honda Zambia had delivered a total of 200 from the 750 procured motorcycles. The query PS is you not following the procedure. So why was procedure in procurement not followed? What moved the ministry not to follow the procedure? I submit, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Mai. Honorable Mira.
Yes, Chair. Also, there is a further query about the late or non-delivery of all the 750 motorbikes. On Appendix 37, there are only delivery notes for 200 motorbikes on the appendix. So the committee would like to find out, first of all, if all the 750 motorbikes have been delivered, and why only sample of delivery notes have been provided as evidence.
PS, can you take those two questions?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Maybe I'll start with the last one. The 750 motorbikes have all been delivered, and we do have the delivery notes. The only problem, I think, is they are bulky, but let me just confirm if we came with them, and we have them. Yes, and maybe where we seem not to have followed procedure, it was just because of the late receipt of funds. You will see that we got funds, I think, on a day or two before the financial year ended. I submit.
Honorable Mai, Honorable Mai, then Honorable Mai in that order.
PS, you are saying the reason for not following procedure because you received these funds late. Was this not budgeted for? Why didn't the procurement process start? Because we were anticipating to receive these funds. I don't think, Mr. Chairman, that can be a good reason not to follow the procedure. Looking at the amounts of money involved and the number of motorbikes involved. So, was it something which just came up that maybe this week you have just decided to procure this, or it was something you had budgeted for? So, if you had budgeted to procure these motorcycles, why didn't you follow the normal procedure while you knew that money would be coming? Because just money receiving it today, just today you decided to get the whole cash, Mr. Chairman. Withdraw everything you want to pay. I don't think that reason is enough.
Yeah, so I think also that good. But further, in addition to paying the whole amount before food delivered, the committee would like to find out what was the delivery period of these motorbikes and how many were delivered after the end of the delivery period, because I have seen there is a query of not charging liquidated damages for delayed deliveries and there is a defense in the response. So how many were delivered after the delivery period and why liquidated damages were not levied on the supply?
Yes, take those two questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson. Maybe just to indicate that the procedure was followed, the procurement procedure was followed. But we received the funds a day or two before the close of the financial year. I'll ask my head procurement to just talk to the issues on what transpired.
Thank you, PS, and thank you, honorable members. Just as they indicated, all the documentation were prepared, or should I say, the procurement procedures were followed. And when it came to payment, the payment was done after the supplier had delivered 200 motorbikes out of the 750 that were ordered, and also the supplier had also provided advance payment guarantee. That's what necessitated the ministry to pay the whole amount. We were fully secured.
Honorable Daka, then Honorable Farad.
Madam Chairperson, thank you very much. Of course, to the head of procurement through the PS, of course. You said the advance payment guarantee was provided to as a cover or to provide security or to secure the payment of the whole contract sum to the service provider. Was the same provided for under the contract? Because the terms and conditions of the contract are the ones to guide how you make payments. So we would want to find out if what you are claiming actually was provided for in the contract, or it was something that was just done based on the fact that you received funds late. The committee would want to appreciate that. I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Honorable Farad.
Yeah, Chairperson. Again, I see a bit of laxity in terms of people failing to respond to queries. You are telling the committee that actually 200 bikes or motorcycles were delivered way before the payment was made. Why did you fail to provide this information to the auditors? We must come here and start looking at 200 vehicles that were delivered before you made any payment. The whole story could not be concluded at the ministry or at the department, the procurement head. You knew that you had started consuming services for Honda Zambia, and yet you could not say a thing. about the 200. We come here, they are telling us that they were delivered, and then you could not do it when the auditors were at the ministry. Why this laxity again, controlling officer? Why this department? I believe this department is one of those departments that has enough staff to respond to such queries like this.
PS, you can respond to 2 questions from honorable members.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. It's embarrassing that things we should have done when the auditors were with us, we couldn't provide the information. However, like we've repeatedly indicated to your committee, we are re-engineering the ministry to ensure that things should be done the way they are supposed to be done. And these are areas, procurement is an area of concern. Year in, year out, we have these problems. But it's a pity that we didn't provide the necessary information to the auditors. However, we have all the information for verification to show that the motor vehicles have been delivered, like we earlier indicated. And also, it is very embarrassing on my part that we could not provide the necessary answers at the time.
Honorable Rumai.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson, this query is raising a lot of issues. To start with, we were told that the reason why they did not follow the procurement procedure, because the money had just come, was 2 days before the close of the year. You said 2 days before the close of the year. So when you received this money, you just decided to give it to Honda Zambia because you were avoiding to enter the following year. The procurement officer is saying no, they followed the procedure. So the answer I want from the procurement officer, you are buying these motorcycles at 49,950 each. 200 were delivered. In your response, you are saying the 550 motorcycles were awaiting clearance following the introduction of duties and tax on motor vehicles. So, when was this introduction done vis-a-vis you receiving the 200 motorcycles? Was that provided for in your contract that Honda Zambia will first deliver 200, then you pay them all the amount, then 550 will come later? Since you said you followed the procurement process, was that provided in your agreement with Honda Zambia? Because it was delivered period 4 to 6 weeks.
Honorable Mwira.
Chairperson, the facts about this contract is that all deliveries should have been made by 31st January 2024, because that's when the 6 weeks should have ended, 31st January 2024. As at the time of the audit, 31st August, almost 8 months after, the supplier had not delivered the 750. At least not everything was delivered, because there's only evidence of 200, and of course they're saying they have for the others. So, as at August 2024, not all the 750 motorbikes had been delivered a few months ago. So how many were delivered after the deadline of 31st January? And even as at August, there was no food delivered. After August and now, how many have been delivered?
PS, we can respond to those questions.
Like I've indicated, all the bikes have been delivered. By 30th September, 30th September 2024, all the 750 motorbikes had been delivered.
Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. PS, maybe maybe for the committee to appreciate that all the 750 motorbikes were delivered, can you provide the evidence for verification to the committee, of course through the age, so that we can appreciate that really indeed all the 750 motorbikes have been delivered? I submit.
Yes, we have the documentation.
Yes, we came with the documentation.
So you can give the age to look at them. Honorable Mfalali.
Chair, my question to the controlling officer, to the procurement department or the procurement officer is, these motorbikes that you received had no batteries, the first 200 I think. Why did you accept motorcycles that didn't have batteries? Why do you accept things that are not in order? Because they just came. If they came without batteries, how do you distribute without batteries? And why should you accept?
Yes, you received an complete bicycle, so why did you accept?
I'll ask my head PSU to respond to that.
Head procurement.
Thank you, Madam Honorable Chairperson. The motorbikes actually were delivered with batteries, except that the batteries were expired. You know, these items, when they stay long, the batteries stop functioning well. So that's the reason they came with batteries actually.
Honorable Mfalali.
The procurement. Are you telling us that before these motorcycles were delivered, you did not do a pre-shipment inspection, so that even if they come to stores or to anyone who you wanted to give them to or to be kept, you knew that these were actually ready to be delivered? Why did you have to accept, even if it's expired battery? You accepted expired batteries. Why didn't you carry out a pre-shipment inspection? If they were sitting at a warehouse somewhere, you should have actually gone to the warehouse. And before they are moved, you should have said, these batteries have expired. We must sit here, Chair, we must sit here with procurement to start being told that the motorcycles were expired batteries. I mean, these are basic things that can be done through you controlling officer procurement. We must sit here to start talking about batteries that expire. And the motorcycles were sitting now in their hands, and they could not do anything before that.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Was there a pre-inspection?
I may not confirm whether there was a pre-inspection, but immediately we noticed that the batteries were flat. We informed Honda Zambia, and they replaced them, the batteries.
They were replaced?
Yes, they were replaced at no cost.
There is a comment from the AG.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. So we have looked at the documentation that the controlling officers submitted. We have both the delivery notes and the goods received notes. However, the interesting thing is that these documents have been submitted here, but this audit started somewhere in January. These documents were never submitted. We never even saw the motorbikes. So I'm just wondering where this documentation has been. I submit.
What's the dates on the documents? Are there dates?
The dates, yes, the dates are showing December, and I think some
December 2023.
Yes, and some
200.
Yes, and
then
some March April 2024.
So meanwhile the auditors came after April to your office, PS. Can you respond to that? Maybe procurement director, can you help the PS? The auditors came to your office after April, but you have the documents for April, but you never gave the auditors. Honorable Mpalari.
We are concerned, the committee here, when we start hearing some of these, or the evidence being adduced to the committee, even when people were sitting with some of these documents, if ever they were sitting with them, why should they bring, or why should they fail to avail what they have? Why should you fail to explain these things? Why? Because controlling officer, I don't know, we all, some of us, we have had an experience in importing. It's simple to explain. If the motorbikes, I hear him with the procurement is telling us that the motorbikes batteries were actually finished because maybe the motorbikes were there for a long time. I don't know who imports motorbikes in complete form. If not that they assemble them somewhere nearer. I don't know. Sometimes you see controlling officer, certain stories which come from from procurement now, they don't hold any water. They could have done better. So tell us, where were these documents sitting? If we have to come and start now looking at the documents right here in Public Accounts Committee, where were they sitting? And earlier on, controlling officer, he said, these procurement, they have enough staff to provide this information. But why are they not providing it to Auditor General's office? For them to scrutinize and be able to clear this thing away from coming here.
Through the PS, Honorable Daka.
Chair, of course, through the PS. How long, procurement, or head procurement, how long have you been at the ministry? I think it's out of interest, want to find out how long you have been at the same ministry. I submit, Chairperson.
Director Procurement.
Thank you, Chairperson. I've been at the ministry since April.
So the time the auditors came to the ministry were there? Because they came there after April.
But now, when I came, that's when they were just winding up the audit.
Okay. But there are some officers who were there. Who was there during this audit on the procurement of these bicycles? Director, we have internal audit. Internal audit, can you guide us?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I must state that I joined the ministry in June. So, but not to run away from the matter at hand. I think the moment we came through, we took this as a live audit, where we made necessary follow-ups with regards the procured motorbikes. And to a greater extent, a number of motorbikes were being housed at Zari, Zambia Agriculture Research Institute there, and some of the motorbikes were at ZAMSTATS. So at this moment now we're just trying, maybe it's just a matter of reconciling with the auditors as to what really transpired, why the motorbikes and the documents were not availed. But my office, the office of the audit, is very much alive, and from the time the audit was done going forward, we are almost giving weekly updates to the Permanent Secretary's office. And so that that's why we've even seen that by now all the procured motorbikes, they have been delivered. I submit, Chairperson.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I think the earlier point your committee identified, I'm not embarrassed to say that we failed you and we could do better, because some of the issues which have been raised, which have brought us here, we should have addressed them during the audit.
Because if the documents you have them in the ministry, why not give to the auditors? Even if filing is also a problem, it means even the way you keep records is a problem. Someone didn't have the records. Who was keeping the documents that you've come with today?
It's the stores officer.
Yeah, in fact, stores is very cardinal in this issue. Where is stores? We don't have an officer from stores? Because they are the ones who are receiving the bascos, the stores. We don't have stores.
No, they are not with us.
Honorable Mfalari.
Chair, we are concerned when we start having this revelation of people failing even to provide or to show the Auditor General where the motorcycles were. What was there to hide? If ever those motorbikes were there, why did you have to hide? Why not just move with the Auditor General? You are saying they were at Zari and some other place.
Zamstat.
Zamstat. Zamstat is it not the one down the Green Economy Office? But then why fail to move? That is even a walking distance. The Auditor General does not even, and yourselves from procurement, you don't even need to ride a motorbike to go there. You can walk through there and show them. Now I don't know.
Okay, from the officers present, who was there during the audit, so that you can help us?
Maybe I can ask Director Agriculture to...
Director?
Agriculture.
Doctor?
Yes.
Okay. Give us the information.
Thank you, PS. Thank you, Chairperson. I think the word regret has been used repeatedly. I don't want to use it. And so we had, I think when the auditors came to the ministry, we had a meeting like this in the conference room. And I think maybe it's just an issue of communication breakdown. We were asked where are the motorbikes, and by that time we had 200 motorbikes already at Zambia Agricultural Research Institute. And when Zambia Research Agricultural Institute storage filled up, we wrote to Director General Zambia's Zamstat. They told us that we have sufficient capacity there to store all the motorbikes. And in that meeting, I was there. I went there a little bit late, but I was there. And we mentioned to the auditors who were there. I even spoke to Mr. Kachali. I don't know if I think he's one of the auditors. Mr. Kachali was there. We even said we can even walk to Zamstat. We can even walk to Zamstat. You see the motorbikes are there. Zari, of course, maybe. Zari had 200. The other 550 were at Zamstat. Like Honorable Fire mentioned, it's just a walking distance from our ministry. We don't have storage facilities in the ministry. We're on the 4th floor. We're hanging in the air there. So all the things were being stored at Zamstat within the walking distance. And we had mentioned to the auditors in the conference room like this, we said we have these at Zari and at Zamstat. It was a question, I think, of just taking a walk there. But I think maybe they believed us that the motorbikes are there. And the deliveries have started, all the districts. I'm sure some MPs from here, where we have delivered all the districts, we have delivered the Eastern Province, we have delivered Wapura, Muchinga, can confess that these motorbikes are being delivered currently. So I think maybe it was just an issue of communication breakdown, something that we can improve. I didn't want to use the word regret. Maybe we need to work on that, maybe communication breakdown. But Mr. Kachal, if he was here, we mentioned to him, he was there in the conference.
From AG's office?
I think so. I think so. He must be from. Yes, we mentioned that we have them at Zamstat and Zari. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. AG?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. So the correct position in terms of the actual motorbikes was that we were told that the motorbikes are at Honda Zambia. So we could not go to see them because we couldn't differentiate between the stock for Honda Zambia and the one the ministry had procured. The motorbikes were never shown. There was no indication that the motorbikes have been delivered. I think that is the fact that documentation was not provided, the fact that the motorbikes were not seen, I think adds up. However, if the motorbikes have been delivered now, I think we can look at them. But I think the documentation and the physical inspection which should have taken place indicate that the motorbikes were not there then.
But there's also, you are saying that you can check on them, but they're saying they've said the distribution to the provinces. Honorable Falali.
Yeah, I think the Auditor General actually requested further for the distribution list, which they have not availed again. I think a controlling officer, there are issues like there are those who are proponents of stores moving away from the Accountant General, from Ministry of Finance, to start sitting right at the procurement. But that does not excuse this department from providing proof that this is what they did. There were no delivery notes. There were no distribution lists. There were no goods received notes. All these notes were not there at the time when the auditors were there. So why should we sit here, yet someone was holding to these documents, for whatever reasons, if they were there, and then only to come here and start telling us, say, no, these are there, you can verify. I think there is a lapse somewhere within the procurement. Much as the head of procurement is new, I think there were senior procurement officers there. There are other procurement officers who could have provided this information. Why were they sitting with this information? So that we can come and start looking at motorbikes here.
Yes.
It's a serious concern. I don't know, controlling officer, if you are PS, if you are seeing it the way I'm seeing it, because people should be serious. 750 motorbikes, you cannot provide even half evidence to say, look, this is what is there. But they want to wait to come here and start analyzing and telling us, no, the motorbikes were sitting somewhere there, yet they could even have walked there, if ever they were sitting at Zamstad.
Yes, we can respond to the question.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Indeed, it's regrettable. I'll still use the term that we didn't show the documentation. But you remember earlier we were talking about ICT, high turnover. Procurement at Ministry of Agriculture is also another department which has been where there is high turnover of staff, not only the head, I think even 2-3 layers down. So sometimes, yeah, about 3/4 were transferred, but that is not supposed to be the excuse. And that's why I was saying that with the restaffing and re-engineering, which is still going on through the Ministry of Agriculture, I think you should be seeing a new Ministry of Agriculture going forward. Because we are now paying attention to things like audit. So that once the auditors come, they raise issues, we will show them. Because even in my seat where I'm seated, it's still baffling that the Auditor General has said that we couldn't even show them the documents which we brought here. I'm lost of words to say the least. But we are ready for verification for the documents, and actually even for the physical motorbikes, including those which we've delivered, because the motorbikes have got identification numbers, which even if you go to Eastern Province or wherever, you'll still confirm that this is the same motorbike we are talking about. So I think from our end we are ready to do that, so that we close this matter.
PS, listen to your submission. The issue of transfer is not an issue because this is a public office. Even if I leave today, whoever takes over from me should find the records in place. That's why it's called public office. But if you're going to say because someone was transferred, then we'll have a problem. Someone will be fired, someone will die, someone will be sick. But the records should remain in an office so that whoever comes, that's why we have files. You just check in there's this to do with maybe agriculture, to do with the bus cause, someone will just go and check and they'll have an idea of what happened. But if we're going to give an excuse of saying, no, people were transferred, then it's not a public office, it's a private office. So we need to change the way we are doing our work. Honorable members, any questions on this? There's also the issue of failure to secure performance security bond. So after this one, we can maybe break for 5 minutes. Failure to secure performance security bond. Honorable Falad.
Maybe since the Auditor General is ready to inspect these and they are saying they have been delivered, maybe we can close it. I mean, we can wait for the Auditor General to verify all the documentation.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's like we are shooting in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same query. So maybe we go to page 43, failure to obtain, this is the same one, failure to obtain clearance from ZRA before payment. This one is a different case. Okay, then maybe I adjourn for 5 minutes. PS, I lift you a minute so that people can refresh their minds.